Welcome to BW Legal. All our calls are recorded for training and quality purposes.
Like whatever, so is that okay?
So how can I help you regarding this then?
Right, I've submitted a non-negotiable contract to yourselves on behalf of my client and me having power of attorney to rectify this claim brought about on my client's person. As of this moment now, I haven't served verbal cease and desist on your company, BW Legal. You've contacted my client, not you yourself, Eugene, but the corporation that you work for. I believe the directors are Sean Barton and Rachel Withers. I would like you to, this call is being recorded, so I'd like you to make the senior manager on your floor aware after this call and, after this information's been transposed to you, including the directors, please, because I'm going to be sending in some communication now of how things are seen from our point of view. There was a claim made by a private corporation called Vehicle Control Services, Eugene, back in November 2016. There was a vehicle on the Queen's Highway, apparently subject to the 1988 Road Traffic Management Act. So a claim has been made to the vehicle registered owner, keeper, the business proprietor of whom you've got on that notice there, that letter. The claim has been made by Vehicle Control Services. My client is familiar with my services. He's registered with Sovereign Paralegal. So he sent me a copy of the invitation and notification that VCS had served to his legal person and asked me how he should be best to deal with it. He's aware of contract, non-contract obligations, law and civil. I said, don't worry, it's a civil claim that's been made. I says, and obviously you're the V5 registered keeper, you're not the driver. You're not responsible for this. It's not on you. I will advise you on how to deal with this. So what I did, Eugene, is I said to him, write to the claiming company and inform them that you're a business owner and inform them of your legal trustee status and beneficiary and settlor status, and tell them that there was a driver in the vehicle and yes, you are willing to deal with the claim. And it's going to take some time out of your business. So here's a administration charge for £10, and once that's been settled, he will willingly give the name of the driver in question. So Vehicle Control Services received that offer of contract from the business proprietor, which is lawful and legal, and they declined that, Eugene, and said they didn't want to enter into a contract with him. They, under the blah, blah, blah sections and whatever, Road Traffic Management Act, he's required to give the data of the driver. So he's had a reply back from the corporation, the organisation of such saying, we don't want to enter into a contract, but please can you send the name of the driver anyway? So then we've written back and said, this is illegal and lawful communication. There's no appeal going in and there's no submission because he doesn't submit his rights and he doesn't appeal because he's not deemed guilty yet. This is a claim and only a claim in legal standing. So the claim requires evidence to back it up. So we've asked for the evidence and there's the evidence is that there's a claim made that there was a vehicle parked on the highway where there was yellow lines and it's subject to a penalty. But the vehicle was stopped with a member of the team in there looking, for direction. So he wasn't parked. And there's questions in the validity of this claim in case. So we've put it to Vehicle Control Services and served them notice saying, we're willing to deal with this, but you've rejected the offer of contract. And as such, my client is willing and able to deal with this. He's not guilty. And under the rule of law, we've sent various correspondence to them. So that's it in a nutshell. They've passed it on to Debt Recovery Plus, who have then endeavoured to recover for the client. But whilst an account is in dispute, Eugene, legally, under the civil procedure rules and law and, statutory law, public law and private law, these claims cannot be enforced as such because it's legally in dispute and we're endeavouring it to sort it out in the private. He hasn't contracted, he hasn't submitted, as I've said, he's appointed a power of attorney. So we have all the case files, and I have all the case files, which I've submitted to yourselves, BW Legal, via email. You haven't agreed to contract with me. You are, in legal terms, your organisation and the directors, Sean Barton and Rachel Withers, will be ultimately responsible for this as CEO and directors. They are now committing harm, injury and trespass against my client's rights because you're ignoring the rule of law and the legal system itself.
It goes down to the registered keeper.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, but there's no law.
He's the registered.
That's
right.
He's
the registered keeper.
He is.
Unless you've got that third yeah, they're completely within their right to write to your client.
Yes.
And ask him to pay.
No, but he's.
If we don't have someone come forward and put their hands up and say, you know what, I was driving that vehicle that day, it was me. There's my details. There's my address. Send me the fine. Send me the contravention details, and I'll sort it out. Until that happens, it is down to the registered keeper.
And what are you quoting there, Eugene? What's that? Under what belief system is that?
Right, okay.
Yeah, because we're operating under the rule of law, you see, and there's no law that you can quote me. In a court of law, whoever makes the claim must provide the burden of proof, and somebody's made a claim here, and somebody's wanting a contract, and somebody's making a financial penalty without somebody being taken to a court of law. He isn't guilty in any way, shape or form. He hasn't admitted guilt. He's willing to deal with it. He's not the driver. He's the settlor. And as the settlor, he has beneficiaries and trustees, and he's operating a business. And in the business world, you know, nobody works for free. And that brings me round to this part of the conversation where, you know, we do understand the rule of law and what happens in a court, and we are willing to go, as this letter dated, he sent me a copy. That's a letter you've dated the 29th of December, giving an allotted amount of time to make a payment, and you are saying that there's going to be a claim. You're giving a letter before claim here. So I recognise that, and I have full authority and jurisdiction to represent this man in a de facto court, you know, and bring this to justice. But you have sent a letter, your corporation, Eugene, and it's got BW Legal signature, and it's not signed by hand. There is no reverse liability to this claim from your company. So BW Legal is not a living entity. It's a fictitious corporate, you know, it only resides on paper. So until your company brings a name forward, we're going to assume that Sean Barton, director, and Rachel Withers are going to assume, you know, liability on their full commercial liability on this, and those are the names, unless you can give me somebody different or put somebody on for me to speak to regarding these claims, because they're the ones that have got liability.
Would you like to, is that what you're asking me to do for a manager on? Is that what you want me to do? No,
because this call's being
recorded. I'd be quite happy to.
No, this call's being recorded, and you're the agent in office dealing with this. If you feel that you're out of your depth and you need to get a manager, so be it. But I'm quite capable to talk to you in a professional capacity and let you know.
Just going back, it does go down to the registered keeper of the vehicle. So, you know, yes, they will pursue him for it, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. And when it goes to court and you serve and this call's recorded, we've got a case file at hand, I will go to court and appear for the claimant, for the defendant.
Yeah,
if the claimant's case, your case then, doesn't have a leg to stand on, has no jurisdiction and authority, and we've offered to pay and settle the account lawfully and legally as per terms and conditions of the law. I'm not obliged to tell you what they are. You're obliged to know if you're acting upon in what's classed as in honour or with clean hands if you're talking equity. But we're talking public, we're talking contract, so we're talking commercial, we're talking admiralty, maritime, and joinder, and contract law. Yeah.
It's already had 14 days. It can appeal it within the first 14 days. That amount of time has passed.
Eugene, but to appeal, Eugene, one must be guilty. But nobody said he's guilty. He's not admitting guilt, and he hasn't been apportioned any guilt. You need to be fair, Eugene. For a man to be guilty,
they can pursue him because he's the registered keeper.
Listen, I'm lawfully and legally trained, sir. I do this all the time.
Right.
I don't want to
Well,
waste your
best of luck with it then.
Yeah.
I'll put a note on that you've called and spoke to us today, but it does go down to the registered keeper at the end of the day. But absolutely fine.
I don't understand what you're saying, but I do hope for your sake that you do understand what a verbal cease and desist is. You are trespassing against my client's rights. You are causing him duress, and you are not following the rule of law. I have mentioned this call is recorded. You are not responsible, Eugene. This is not any indemnification onto you. You are the agent operating for the people that are posing to hold a solicitors firm called BW Legal Limited. And listen, Sean Barton and Rachel Withers have limited liability, and so does my client. And this is limited liability. So that's all I need to say to you for now. You do make
nothing to do with that, Mike. What you're doing is they're just the directors of our company. We've been instructed by Vehicle Control Services, so you know that's it. You need to talk about Vehicle Control Services really, rather than keep mentioning the directors of this company who've been instructed by them to take this down the legal route. So I don't know why you keep mentioning.
Yeah, it's liability.
Yeah, right.
I've got liability for my actions, and your company has got liability and insurance, and so does Vehicle Control Services of Sheffield, and they've got outstanding CCJs against them. So they're not even in on it. I didn't tell you that. That's good old company's house catalogue information for you. So how can somebody without
would you like me to just put a note on that you'd like us to take this further then?
Yes.
As far as that's concerned. Okay. That's fine.
I don't want to end this call now. I don't want this case going any further because it's unlawful, and you've been given a cease and desist. This is recorded, by the way, and it's admissible in court because you agreed to it on behalf of your company and its directors. So I've given you a verbal cease and desist of this day, the 8th of January, at 3:20, Eugene, and you've accepted it on behalf of your corporation. Do you understand that? Hello?
Just bear with me a moment.
Yeah, that now we can end the call, but you need to understand your company has been lawfully served, and I will be putting in a counterclaim for damages and my fee schedule. You've contracted with me by talking to me, and you've got a copy of my non-negotiable contract, which is lawful and legal, and the fee schedule contained within. That will be payable upon a court presentation for defence of this claim. And you will be in dishonour. So as long as you understand that, a verbal cease and desist is legal and lawful, and we're putting in a counterclaim to defend against your company.
Yeah, that's fine. Just do what you feel's best. That's fine. We are in the right, so it's absolutely no problem at all. But yeah, the registered keeper it goes down to, unless someone comes forward, puts their hands up and said, you know what, I was driving that vehicle that day. That's fine. And I'll put a note on that you've called.
You do recognise what you're saying, and I thank you for your time. Do you understand what's happened here today?
Yeah, I do. Thanks very much.
You do. All right. Then. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time. I'm glad you understand, and we'll wait to hear from you and make claims in court if we need to, or defence.
Brilliant.
Right. Thank you very much. Goodbye,
Thank
sir.
you.